What's happening, YouTube? What's happening, YTBC? I just wanted to make a quick video. And I was actually going to go into a massive rant about your boy GGG. Because I've watched a few videos, I've heard a lot of opinions about, GGG, Gennady Golovkin, all the same shit from all these guys who are like, talking about the fact that GGG is this monster, GGG is this great fighter, GGG is, the best thing since sliced bread, GGG is like a phenomenon that's never been seen before, and so on and so forth, and the same garbage. But I thought, no, let me just explain something to some of these guys who are GGG supporters. It's alright to support a fighter, there's nothing wrong with supporting a fighter, but the problem is when you go into realms of delusion. And that's the nicest way I can actually put it. When you go into realms of delusion to overinflate a fighter, to make this fighter to be grandiose, when the fighter hasn't actually done anything to warrant such an accolade or credential, or even, to warrant such praise. The thing is, GGG, through his body of work, his resume, and I can only judge this from my own perspective and my own personal view, is judging on his resume, he hasn't done anything to warrant the notion that he's a super fighter, this great fighter, all that kind of stuff. He hasn't done it. He hasn't done anything to warrant that. Now, some of you who are GGG fans will say, well, GGG has been knocking people out. Well, the thing about that, saying that, is that when you're knocking people out, if you're knocking the very best competition, if you're beating all the very best competition that you could have beaten at any given point in time, you will get your props if you were doing that on a consistent basis. But the problem is when the word very best competition comes in, GGG fans, fanboys, and all these people who just cannot see reason don't seem to understand that concept. The very best competition. I just keep I put that into the quotation marks, because that's the issue. When his resume is of a substandard quality, you cannot get the props or the praise that you feel your favorite fighter deserves. Now, with GGG himself, the issue is not so much the fighter, because I personally believe that GGG wants to be, wants to get the notoriety of being an elite fighter. I think he wants to get that, but I think what he fails to understand is that you do have to work for that. That's not a given. You see, I'm trying to be fair and objective about this, but it's kind of hard sometimes when you read comments, when these guys who make videos talking about how great GGG is and how people are shitting on GGG because GGG is white. When you start going into realms, that kind of arguments, that kind of realm, then you devalue the GGG as a fighter. You devalue him when you start going into that realm, because it makes you look weak, in my opinion. I mean, GGG has a weak resume anyway, but it makes you as a fan more weak, because if you were coming from a position of strength where GGG is actually, attempted to be great by fighting all comers, the best competition, he wasn't trying to get into this sort of backdoor greatness, and again, I'm being fair. I mean, otherwise I won't even be fair. I could just go into a massive rant, you see, because the frustration is there. GGG is he's not at that level where you kind of feel he wants to be great. I don't feel it. I mean, boxing is about getting an emotional connection with the sport, with the fighters. You want to see fighters actually want to be great. And I don't see that with GGG. I see him trying to sneak in the back door type thing. It's like, oh, no. I'm just gonna position myself here, and if I don't fight this fight, then I fight that fight, and I use the same mantra, and I don't, that's what brings him down in terms of his own overall status, and I don't think GGG fans understand that, and I'm trying to be as nice as I can for GGG. I'll be honest with you, I can't see. Unless the mindset changes with GGG himself, because the issue, I feel that his promotional company are causing problems, because his promotional company is garbage. K2 promotions have been awful, and I'll be honest, they have been absolutely awful. But that's my personal opinion. But I mean, if GGG fans could see that, look, if this guy wants to be great, he will be fighting everybody. He will be going on and fighting all the best competition. And I'm not saying he has to fight every single 160 pounder that's ever, that's coming up. And I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that based on his resume, there were much better competitors he could have fought. He's 34 years old. This guy is not in his early 20s just starting his career. People just have this sort of blanket notion that GGG is just starting his career. No, he's not. The guy is coming to the end of his career. And when you look at his resume, you're thinking, hang on, he's 34. What happened to the last 10 years? Look at the guys he's been fighting. These guys are substandard. It is substandard for the guy. He should have fought much better competition by now. And he hasn't, and he didn't. And it's just so frustrating to actually guard the notion that he is an elite fighter. He's not. I'm sorry, he's not. He's an okay fighter. He's okay. I mean, you have this mindset that GGG is going to beat every single 160 pounder that is in the division right now. Well, I disagree. And the reason I disagree is because his resume tells me that he's not fighting the best competition he could have fought. And he's being protected. Why? Because he's a commodity. Now that's fine, because he's a boxer. He wants to maximize his output, and he's coming to the end of his career. I totally understand that. I don't agree on the way he's trying to do it, because if he wants to be great, you have to fight good fighters if you want to be great. And the greatness comes with the fact that you want to fight the very best fighter. That's how the greatness is formed. It's not formed on the back door, sneaking, people giving him wins when he hasn't actually fought decent competition. Oh yeah, he beats everybody at 160. No, I disagree. No, GGG doesn't beat everybody at 160. I'm telling you that. I'll take that to the bank. He doesn't. GGG beats most, but not everyone at 160. No, he doesn't. He needs to fight the very best competition. Whether you like it or not as a GGG fan, it's entirely up to you. But that's how I see it. That's my perspective. Now, I put GGG fans into categories. You see, you got GGG fans who are, okay, I like GGG, I'm going to ride with him, fine, okay. And they want to look at things, both sides. They want to look at the whole package. And some of them obviously have disagreements on the fact of how they see GGG, fine. Then you get GGG fanboys who are like, oh, I'm going to ride with GGG. And no matter what you tell them, they're not going to listen. They're just going to go into this diatribe that GGG is trying to unify, and GGG is trying to unify, he wants to be undisputed, blah, 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 blah. And listen to all that, even though I disagree on the methods, but fine, you got the GGG fanboys. Then you got the third and final category, which is the GGG fuckboys. Now, these are the guys who are, absolute ridiculous stupidity in the notion that they try to paint this picture that GGG is being discriminated against because of his color of his skin. They use the racial angle to try and justify the fact that GGG is being racially persecuted. You know, and then you have this notion that, oh, black channels and, you know, black people don't like GGG because he's white, or even though GGG is Asian, and they can't understand that concept that the guy is actually Asian. But you know, they try and paint him into this picture of, oh, it's racist to hate GGG, it's racist, blah 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 blah. Those fuckboys are the problem, are the issue why GGG is having an issue in terms of the general outlook on who he is. It's because of these fuckboys. Now, if you want to categorize yourself as one of these guys who are gonna, you know, spew out garbage about the fact that GGG, you know, is being racially persecuted, then you're a fuckboy. Then that's fine. You can put you in that little box, so you can stay in there. GGG, his own fans are not supporting him based on the last so-called pay-per-view output that his dumb promotional company was trying to manufacture. That he's some kind of a huge global star, and he's not. And the reason is quite simple: he's not fighting the best competition. Once that notion gets through those who are so adamant on GGG, once it gets through that notion gets in there that GGG doesn't fight the best competition. And when GGG actually himself starts, you know, trying to be great by taking on everybody and saying, I'm going to fight this guy, I'm going to go fight that guy, I'm going to actually go in there and, you know, I want to fight them all, I want to be great, then people will start resonating, because it's all about feeling. You have to have a connection, and GGG doesn't have that connection, because fuckboys have basically hijacked him as this poster boy of, you know, some weird reverse racism bullshit. And GGG is suffering because unless he distances himself from these people and starts saying to his promotional company, look, I actually do want to fight X, Y, and Z. It doesn't matter who he is, I'll fight everybody. Once that starts resonating with people, people want to see him, because obviously he does have talent. He's not as good as people say he is, he's not, but he does have some talent. You have to give him that. So that's my take on it, because you know, to be honest, this video was gonna, I don't want to make it too long. I was gonna go into a massive rant on this, but I thought, nah, actually, let me sit down and just explain exactly my position. So you know, so people actually understand exactly where I am coming from in regards to Gennady Golovkin. So there's no misconception, there's no sort of misunderstanding. Now, you might disagree, that's absolutely fine. You might ride with the GGG love boys and whatever, that's entirely up to you, but that's just my point of view, my opinion, so take it as it is. Peace.